This time around, I am making a review of Khemia, a game released for the PS2. From time to time, I am going to make these retro game reviews because when I am not playing recent games, I usually play old games in my cell phone, sometimes in my computer too, but it is very convenient to play them on the cell phone. It's actually a blessing that we are able to play these old titles with the help of the amazing emulators that have been released for Android. I am going to make a Digimon Story Time Stranger review. I am working on playing the game right now, but I wanted to make this review because, like I said, I usually play these old games on my cell phone. And I believe it's important to make reviews of old games to bring attention to those old titles from time to time, because we need to remember how good gaming was 15 or more years ago. Khemia is a decent game. It's not perfect. I am not going to try to sell you the narrative that this game is the best game ever or is a hidden gem that is actually a 10 out of 10 and nobody even noticed it. It's fake. I am not a fanboy. I am not a fanatic, as you already should know, because most of my content is against fanaticism, fanatics, fanboys, whatever you want to call them. So this is one of those games that makes crafting right. It's a game about crafting, and the crafting it's meaningful and it's good because everything that you do makes you stronger. The gear that you craft with this crafting system is actually very strong when you are able to make it. I am going to go deep on that later because the crafting it's good in this game, but it also has many bad aspects to it. Another great aspect about this game, this was one of the first games that tried to get rid of random battle encounters. So in this game, it more or less is like Persona 3, where you see the enemies around in the map and you can surprise attack them to get the advantage on them, and if you get hit first, then the enemy has the advantage. More or less, we are very familiar to that mechanic because many JRPGs, many RPGs have done that to this day. The graphics of this game, in my opinion, are really good. I really dig this 2D, 3D sprite style that they are using here. It reminds me of Ragnarok Online, one of my favorite, if not my favorite, MMORPG. The music is outstanding. In this game, the music is amazing. This game is from a company that is called Ghost, and this company has released many other games in the past, and to this day it still releases games. The ones on the PS2 are really good, in my opinion, are their best work. They have the Atelier series, they have this Khemia, they have other games with the name of Artonelico or something like that, but the PS2 games of Ghost are really good, and the music of these games in the PS2 era is outstanding. It's really good. I honestly would recommend to play this game only for the music, only for the soundtrack. It's really amazing. I am going to use this soundtrack for this review, so anything you hear in this review is going to be the soundtrack of this game, and I have used the tracks of this game in the past or other Ghost games in my previous reviews or other videos because the music is that good. The characters are very decent. They are not the greatest characters, but they are really decent. The best character by far is Flay. That character is alone carrying the entire game. It's a great character. If you miss those days where we had manly characters that were masculine, that were telling you how to be a man, how to behave as a man, and in general characters that brought masculinity as a topic, you should play this game because Flay is a great character and I think is a great masculine figure for this game.
Are you Vane Aurelius?
That's right.
Do you know him?
No, not at all.
Are you sure this is him? He doesn't look too bright to me.
Who cares? His name matches. It's good enough for me.
Whatever.
want something?
We're supposed to take you back. Come on, hurry up!
Huh?
Hey!
Stop right there!
Flay! I don't have time to deal with you right now.
Don't get in our way. I want to go home already.
Then don't interfere with me! Hey, you two!
Who, us?
Yes, you! I already got you 2 booked!
Booked? Like...
No way! We got here first. You can't do that.
Sure I can. We'll settle this like men. A test of strength, perhaps?
Bring it on!
Give it up. I'm pretty sure you can't beat him.
With your help, there's no way he'll beat us 2-on-1.
No way. I just had my nails done and I am not ruining them.
You're such a...
And the conversation continues without us.
Yeah. What should we do?
Come face the might of Flay!
Damn you! I'll get you next time.
They ran away without a fight. A wise choice, I must say. Now that those losers are gone, come with me.
What's going on?
Those two were Tony and Renee. You could say they're the peons of evil.
Evil?
You were almost kidnapped. Luckily, I, the Flay, was here to stop them.
Yes, well, thank you very much.
So, where are we supposed to go?
Like most secret lairs, I can't tell you until we get there. Now, come on!
Should we?
Let's give him a chance. It sounds kind of fun.
Now the game does have a day and a night cycle. I always appreciate when games do that because it is very immersive. Some items only appear at night, so it's a mechanic that is actually used throughout the game. The biggest highlight about the game is definitely the combat. The combat, when is completely fleshed out, is really good. I really recommend the game only on the soundtrack or the combat because those 2 points are the highlight of the game. The combat, more or less, when it completely opens up, is a combo game. You more or less make combos with your characters. You have 3 main characters on each fight, but you can mix them. You can bring other characters in and push other characters out. What do I mean with this? Is that this is not one of those games where you have a main party and this party is only the ones you use throughout the entire game because you can't be bothered to level up the other characters and they just sit in the bench throughout the entire game. This game encourages you to use the entire party, the entire roster. How do they do this? Whenever you attack with a character, you can press a button to bring one of the characters that is on the reserve, and the character that is on the reserve is going to attack and replace the original character. And you can keep doing this until you don't have any more characters on the reserve. They more or less enter into a cooldown state and they can be used until that cooldown refreshes. You can also use these characters on the reserve to make a defensive move. One character goes out and then comes the one on the reserve and makes a defensive move. Each character has one type of attack or one type of defensive move when they enter from the reserve. This combat is about making combos, like I explained. So you are using one character, use a big move, and then you bring your character on the reserve, and maybe you bring another and another one depending on the situation. The thing is that the characters on the reserve regenerate mana or SP. And this is great because you can unleash your most powerful attacks that cost a lot of mana, and then just switch the character to the reserve so the character starts recovering its mana. It's very fun. This is not one of those games where you have to be constantly starved for mana and you can't use your abilities, you can have fun because you have to have a conservative mentality. No, in this game encourages you to go all out on each single fight. It's amazing. The combat is really flashy and the animations are great. The graphics, like I said, are really good in my opinion, and the soundtrack of the battles make everything just amazing.
It might get kind of hard like this. I can't hold it. I will destroy all!
Don't hinder me.
I can switch.
I'll use this.
Will stop this.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Call me out too.
I can't hold it. I will destroy all!
Do not get in my way. I'll finish this off. This is my justice.
I can switch.
Don't be a naughty boy. Just go away. Take him down. Here you go.
All right, I hope you're ready. Don't hinder me. Let's see what you got.
I will end this. Everyone, please! This is it!
So normal it's.
This game also has New Game Plus, and on the New Game Plus, and the purpose of this New Game Plus is because the game has some secret endings that you can get with each character, because you have like a system where you get points with each one of your party members, in which you increase your friendship, and depending on the character that you have the more points, you get an additional ending. So basically you have to finish the game n amount of times to get all the endings for each character. And you do get a new dungeon, I do believe, and basically that's for the positives of this game. I am going now for the negatives. The negatives of the game are big negatives, not because the game sucks, but because the game does many good things, does great things. But for example, the crafting. The crafting, in my opinion, is good because it's meaningful, but at the same time, it's a fucking chore. How is it a chore? But the problem is getting the items to make the items. It's very frustrating, very annoying. Sometimes you have to actually go and farm the items and you don't even know where the fuck the items are dropped. There is a way more or less to find what the enemies drop, but it's very annoying. Some items are very difficult to understand where they drop, because some items you need to actually go to the map and gather them, but there is no way to tell in game which map has certain types of items. The only thing you can know is what the enemies drop, but these items that you gather are very difficult to find them. There is no way in game to know where to gather each one of these items. So getting materials can be really annoying. the way this crafting works is that you have these items and you use them to craft a recipe, but the problem is sometimes the recipe requires another crafted item. So you have like this crafting system which looks like a nested doll system, which you need to craft an item to craft an item for a crafted item. It's kind of annoying, to be honest. At some point it gets really old really fast. Then the problem also is that there is two places where you craft. There is an alchemy pot where you craft basically potions, items that you can use in combat, and some basic items that are going to be used to either craft the items that you use in combat or to craft equipment. And there is a problem. To craft the equipment, you have to go to another entire different workshop to craft the fucking armor, the weapons, the accessories, and it gets really tiring to go from one place to the other. You keep constantly engaging in loading screens to get to these two different crafting benches that should be in one single spot. So going back and forward, it's really annoying. Now, there is a minigame when you are crafting which allows you to more or less increase the quality of the recipe that you are making, and this number increases depending if you hit the correct element of the item that appears on the screen. Meaning, if at one point you are inserting in the pot an item that is an earth element item, you need to hit correctly the earth element at the bottom of the screen. That increases the quality of the item. Now, there is another thing that the game doesn't reveal until really late in the game, is that you can actually get really good items if you lower the quality of the item. So I do like the fact that the crafting is not one-dimensional, that when you have an item with a higher quality can have really good parameters, and if you go lower you can also maybe make the same item but with also great qualities, but the item itself is rated at a lower quality. It's decent because it's not one-dimensional, but the problem is that this minigame is basically hit and miss, because you are going to be save scumming this minigame to hit the correct spots, but you also have these support cards that more or less represent your teammates helping you to craft these items. But the problem with these support cards is that while they are great when they are available, is that most of the time they aren't going to be available to you because the appearance of these cards is random. So what you're going to do when you need to hit a specific rating for an item, because it's going to be required in some classes, because this game is basically like Harry Potter but with alchemists. So you are a student of an alchemy academy. So for some classes you are going to need to hit a certain rating for a crafted item, and the only way to do that is with the help of the support cards. But the problem with the support cards, like I said, is that they appear randomly. So what you are going to need to do is that you're going to have to go and craft a basic potion or some shitty item and just the cards that you don't want to appear. You need to consume the cards that you're not going to use, and then hope that the correct card appears to replace the one that you used. And that's how the minigame more or less works. It's hit and miss, and I wish there was a more reliable way to bring the cards that you are wanting to use. Like, you can't tell the correct teammate to help you. It's kind of dumb. The problem that I forgot to mention about this crafting is that sometimes getting the affixes that you want in your items, in your gear, in your equipment is very difficult to achieve. It's very annoying, like I said. It's because of how the nested doll system works, because that way is very confusing and very annoying to get specific affixes on the endgame gear, for example, that you want to have. This is one of the reasons why I never crafted some of the endgame weapons for some characters, because the previous weapons I had were much better, because the affixes they had were more stronger than the ones that I could get with the endgame weapons. And to get those affixes with the endgame weapons, I would have to do a shit ton of fucking crafting and annoyance, so it was not worth it. The combat, it's, like I said, is the highlight with the music. There is little to complain about combat, but the problem is that the game reveals the combat, the mechanics of combat really slowly, meaning that for most part of the game the combat is going to be really fucking boring. And in fact, I bet many people stopped playing this game because they thought the game was fucking boring. You know the meme of that guy that is mining and he doesn't find anything, but he's about to find the fucking diamonds and he just gives up and goes back? Well, more or less that is what I believe happened to many people playing this game, because they probably gave up very early into the game because the game really is slow. It's slow to reveal its great combat mechanics, and for most of the game the combat is going to be boring. That is sadly a thing in this game. I wish the combat mechanics were more fleshed out, like at best 1/4 into the game, but the reality is that you are going to be like 3/4 into the game, and that is when the combat is going to be completely revealed to you. I think it's a very bad game decision. Another bad thing, or maybe not bad but meh, is that the story is just mediocre. In my opinion, it's just not great. Like I said, the characters are not really amazing except Flay, and the main protagonist can be annoying. The story is not great. It's just basically just there. So if you are one of those people that need a really strong story, this maybe not be for you. But if you want to experience the combat and the music and the meaningful crafting, even though it's kind of a chore, you may want to play this game. Like I said, the game has day-night cycle. The problem with the night cycle is that it's fucking useless. I mean, like I said previously, there are items you can only find at night, but those are the items you can gather from the map. The enemies do get stronger, the battles are harder, but for no fucking reason, because the enemies at night don't give better rewards, they don't give more experience, they don't give it shit, they are just more annoying. So what happened like 4 to 5 times to me is that I had to leave the fucking game idle waiting for the clock to be once again on the daytime, because trying to get around the map on the night time, it's annoying because the enemies move really fast and it's very difficult to dodge them. So I think the day-night cycle is a great idea, but they should have given an incentive for you to play and to try to take the risk of playing and defeating enemies at night. Sadly, there isn't. This game, this is not a negative. For some people it's going to be a positive. For me, kind of is a negative, but I'm on the fence on this one. The character progression is tied not to level ups, but to how many recipes of the crafting you have done. So you have, each character has like a skill tree, and each time you craft a new item, this item may reveal one new spot on that skill tree for each one of the characters. And then when you go into combat, you get these points, these experience points that are called AP points, and those AP points are the ones that you spend on these nodes that are revealed for each one of the crafting recipes that you make throughout your playthrough. So what is the problem that I see with this system? For me, the problem is that the game is artificially trying to restrain how powerful your characters become. So basically the game is limiting you. You can't really grind in this game to get more powerful. If you are at a certain point in power in the game, is because the game is allowing you to be at that power, not because you earn that power. You have to earn it still, because you have to craft the items, you have to get it, but it still feels like the game is telling you how powerful you should be at a certain stage in the game. So for some that is a positive. I bet that for some that is a positive. For me it's kind of hit or miss. I am kind of on the fence on the system, but I am going to tell you that it's a problem at certain points in the game where I felt like some fights were being or started to become kind of unfair, but they weren't unfair, it's just that you don't feel that powerful yet. Like I said, I felt like some fights were kind of cheap, but on hindsight right now I do feel like I was wrong. Those fights weren't cheap. It's just that you need to understand how to defeat that boss in particular. Those particular bosses I am talking about have a specific way to beat them, and it's not that you can't beat them doing other things, it's that it's easier if you find the pattern on how to beat that particular boss. I don't want to really spoil the bosses to you or the solution how to beat them easily, so I am just going to say that there aren't cheap fights in this game, even though at some point it can feel like you just found one. You just have to calm down, think about what is happening and trying to find the solution to that battle. The problem is that the game has some mechanics that are not really well explained, and sometimes it feels like the game is just throwing shit and throwing mechanics at you one after the other, and you don't even really see the game using those mechanics. For example, the game uses this card system where each turn or each skill, sometimes power, sometimes abilities, put a card on the turn order, and it feels like that mechanic should be very important to the game when in fact it isn't. The only character that actually exploits the use of these cards on the turn order is Roxas, which is the blonde guy that you see at the back on the screen. This character is the only one that has the power to remove these cards. The other characters can add new cards, but really only Roxas is the one that can remove cards. So it kind of feels like weird to have these mechanics and then don't even use them properly with all your characters. There is also the fact that in this game you are rewarded for exploiting the enemy weakness, but at the same time I never really used that mechanic. It's not like I was, oh, this enemy is weak to ice, I'm going to use an ice skill. No, really no. It's not like in Shin Megami Tensei games where you need to abuse the weakness of each enemy for the press turn system. Is not that important. To exploit the weakness is not that important. You do that. There is another mechanic that I forgot to mention of the combat, that whenever you exploit a weakness or you do something, a critical hit for example, or you stun an enemy, you feel this bar at the bottom of the screen, and this enters the whole party into burst state. And in burst state what happens is that all the cooldowns of your reserve members are refreshed really fast, so you can essentially be using all your characters constantly. And when this mode starts, an objective is going to appear on your screen, like for example you need to stun an enemy, or you need to do damage consecutively, or something like that. There is going to be a requirement for you to do in burst mode, and when you successfully do the thing that the game is asking you to do, then another bar is going to fill up, and on this bar, when it's completely filled up, you are going to be able to unleash basically an ultimate with one of your characters. That's essentially the mechanic that I forgot to explain before. Another bad point is that the New Game Plus just keeps your character talent tree and your money, but you have to redo all the fucking crafting all over again. So if you're like me, that you really kind of like the crafting but hate how it becomes a fucking chore, then the New Game Plus just ruins the entire thing with that stupid shit. And what else can I say? I think the game is decent. I think the game is actually, it's good, but it's not like the best game ever. In my opinion, the game is like a 7 out of 10. It's a good game. It's a decent game. It's not the best game ever, but I do believe that there is a lot of fun to be had if you give this game a chance. I wish this company, I wish Ghost went back and started to make games like Mana Khemia, like the Al-Revis games on the PS2, instead of doing what they are doing right now, which is basically games that look really gay, really effeminate, and at best they are bait for virgin simps that want to masturbate to anime characters, which is fucking pathetic. I think they should go back and try to be how they used to be in the PS2 era. Sadly, they aren't doing that, so I don't play their games anymore because they aren't for me. I don't like playing female main protagonists. I find it fucking ridiculous. I don't like playing games with female protagonists even though they are sexy or hot or whatever. I don't like that. I don't enjoy that. So sadly, this company doesn't make games for people like me anymore, or people like Flay, like that character on this game. So with that being said, I'm going to continue. I am going to continue with my Digimon Storytime Stranger review, and possibly that is going to be my next video if nothing else happens. And with that being said, that would be all.